In another collaboration between Intamin and Cedar Point following the success of Millennium Force, they wanted to go 110 feet taller than Millennium Force, making it 420 feet tall and designing a first of its kind. They would come up with a new name, calling it a Strata Coaster. This coaster would send riders from 0 to 120 miles an hour in 3.8 seconds up a 420-foot hill with a 400-foot drop. The design process would start in 2000, with the footers being laid in 2001 to 2002 winter season, and the full construction happening after the season was up in 2002. This is the history of Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point in Ohio. Following the success of Millennium Force in 2000, Cedar Point looked to build another world record-breaking roller coaster. Again, they decided to turn to Intamin since they had so much success with Millennium Force. You know, the first Giga coaster to stand over 300 feet tall and pack speeds at 93 miles an hour. Yes, that one. So they turned to Intamin and started to design in 2000 of designing another world record-breaking roller coaster. That's when the design process started for Top Thrill Dragster. Starting in 2000, after the success of Millennium Force, Intamin and Cedar Point got right at it. From these concept pictures, you could definitely see that Top Thrill Dragster was something that they could cry home about. But how would Cedar Point do it without the public knowing about it right away? Well, the upcoming year, they would have to hide things from the general public. Following the design of the accelerator at Knott's Berry Farms, taking riders 0 to 82 miles an hour in 2.3 seconds, up 205 feet, Cedar Point and Intamin wanted to work on something bigger and better and faster, using the same hydraulic catch car launch that would be used from accelerator. They planned on using this technology for Top Thrill Dragster. So how does a hydraulic launch system work on a roller coaster like Top Thrill Dragster? If you look at number 1 on the diagram, hydraulic pumps rapidly pump hydraulic fluid into several accumulators with 2 separate compartments divided by a piston. Number 2, as the fluid is pumped into one compartment, compressed gas forms in the other. When the pressurized fluid is released, it drives several motors. Number 3, which in turn spin a large winch drum. Number 4, the winch drum rotates, contracting a cable attached to a catch car under the train. As the cable contracts, the train is pulled rapidly along the launch track. The catch car disengages at the end of the launch track and returns to the station whilst the train completes the circuit. That's from Coaster Force. Now let's look at this more in more detail as the art of engineering how Top Thrill Dragster works explains the catch car system.
Underneath the train by a steel cable system that we will discuss in more detail shortly. The catch car is a long piece of steel that rides in a trough down the middle of the launch track, and it connects to the underside of the third car of the train. There is a V-shaped groove in the top of the catch car, which connects with the metal pin known as a launch dog that is dropped down from the bottom of the car. The launch dog is normally held in place by 2 permanent magnets. However, when the train is positioned in the launch area, an electrical contact is made between the train and the track, which allows current to flow through wire coils that are wrapped around the magnets. This generates a temporary magnetic field that opposes the permanent magnetic field from the magnets, thus allowing the launch dog to drop down onto the catch car. After the launch dog is dropped down, the rubber drive tires are retracted, and since the launch track is sloped upwards at a slight angle, the train then rolls backwards and the launch dog slides into the groove in the catch car. When the train is launched, the force between the train and the catch car holds the launch dog in place, and when the catch car reaches the end of the launch track, the train simply overruns the catch car, and the V-shaped groove pushes the launch dog back into place where it is once again held by the permanent magnets. It is extremely important that the launch dog retracts.
Since the layout was agreed upon, Cedar Point and Intamin had to think about what type of theme to make this next roller coaster. They sat down and they finally agreed upon to call it Top Thrill Dragster, named after the drag racing circuit. Why did they want to call it this? Because it was going 0 to 120 miles an hour in 3.8 seconds, kind of the same thrill that you would get from a dragster if you were to ride in one. So they also decided to slogan it Race for the Sky. And the trains would be designed after the drag racing cars. Those that wanted to spectate, kind of like what you do at drag races, would be able to view from the stands other people taking off on top Thrill Dragster. This whole experience was designed after the drag racing circuit. Even the light scheme would be designed after the drag racing circuit. Unfortunately, we don't have any pictures of the actual footer work that was done, but in the winter of 2001 to the beginning of 2002, footer work was done on top Thrill Dragster in secret. Those footers would be covered up during the whole 2002 season. Wicked Twister, a new coaster, would open up that season. And then when the park closed in the fall of 2002, work would start on top Thrill Dragster. And in January, after the public saw the coaster actually going up in the sky and coming up with their own concepts, the park itself would announce the new announced coaster opening up for the 2003 season called Top Thrill Dragster. Top Thrill Dragster would open up for opening weekend at Cedar Point in 2003, but it wouldn't remain open long as it had a lot of downtime during the first 2 seasons. Top Thrill Dragster would experience a lot of downtime due to hydraulic motor issues and also the launch cable issues during the first 2 seasons. Then in 2016 and 2017 and recently in 2019, problems with the hydraulic motors, but this is still remains one of the favorites at Cedar Point and one of the top 20 favorite steel roller coasters in the world. Let's go ahead and take a look at this POV as we close out the history of Top Thrill Dragster video. We hope you enjoyed the history of Top Thrill Dragster here on Midwest Coaster Fans channel. Show us your support by subscribing to our YouTube channel and also supporting us on our other platforms listed below. I want to thank you again for tuning in and enjoying this video with us as we looked at the history of Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point. Thank you for showing your support to Midwest Coaster Fans, and until next time.